Hello, this is John Shuey. I'm an application engineer with DesignPoint, and this is our SOLIDNotes webinar, Chapter 2, Have Your Components Snap Right into Place. At DesignPoint, and this is our SOLIDNotes webinar, Chapter 2, Have Your Components Snap Right into Place. So what exactly are we talking about here? We're talking about using mate references and smart components. What are mate references? Well, when we go to insert components, it allows us to automatically create mates when we're inserting our components. If you think about if you've ever used toolbox fasteners, it works in the same way. When we drop the toolbox component in, it automatically snaps two holes in specific geometry, and then when we drop it in, the mate is already added it to the feature in the feature manager tree. The other thing we're going to talk about is smart components, and what smart components allow you to do is easily insert related components and features for a particular part. So a great example is a bearing. When we think about using a bearing, it needs to be inserted into a specific size bore. There's going to have to be a groove cut into it to hold a retaining ring, because the retaining ring needs to be used to hold the bearing in. So all that can be inserted all at once, for example, for a bearing. So let's go ahead and do some examples. Okay, so I have this assembly right here, and I want to insert, let's see, this shaft right here. So click on over, insert shaft. We can see it doesn't really snap or anything like that. So that's not what we want. So let's go ahead and add our reference. So to add a reference, we're going on the add our mate reference. We're going to go to on the Features tab of our Command Manager. We're going to click on Reference Geometry, and then we're going to click Mate Reference. So there's three different types of two different types of entities that can be used for mate references. We have primary, secondary, and tertiary, and then each one of those we're picking some kind of edge, surface, point. We're going to pick a default mate type that's associated with it, and then a direction. So I'm going to use this edge for the primary, and I'm going to leave mate type and the direction to any, and then I'm going to use this cylindrical face for the secondary one, and I'm going to set that to concentric, and then for the tertiary, I'm going to use that face and set that to coincident. I go ahead and I hit OK. We can see in our feature manager tree, the mate reference is the first thing that shows up here, and so now we know there's a mate reference on this part. So I go ahead and hit save. Then I can go ahead and switch back to my assembly. I'll go to Insert Components. And just now, just like with toolbox fasteners, this is acting very much in the same way where it's, clinging right to the correct geometry. So I just want to drop it right here. Go ahead and drop it in. If we expand the part in the Feature Manager tree, we can see that it automatically added those mates for us. So real nice, simple, easy, pretty cool. All right, let's talk about smart components. So let's say I have this box assembly here. It has a key and a latch that'll be used, to lock it down. And I know that I'm going to use this latch in some other assemblies. And not only am I going to use that latch, but I know that I'm going to need to have these fasteners, the exact same fasteners in there as well. And I'm going to need this exact same cutout. It'd be so convenient if all those could be grouped together. And that's exactly what we're going to do with smart components. So I'm going to go to Tools. And right here is Make Smart Component. First thing it's going to do over here on the left is going to ask us which component we want to make smart. I'm going to go ahead and grab that component. Next thing it's going to ask us is which components do we want to come with it. We want these two screws. And then when I click in Features, we can see it automatically hides the components for us. So we can click on Features. I can click Show Components, then we go back, hide components to hide them. So I'll click on that feature, and I'll hit OK. And now we can see in our Feature Manager design tree that that part has a little star on it, which means it's a smart component. And if we expand the part, we can see now there's a Smart Features folder in it. Let me open that directly so we can see that. If I expand that, there's the features that it's including, the components, and the references, which would be used specifically for that cut extrude. Go ahead and save this guy, and let's insert this into another assembly now. So I have this assembly here. I want to put that latch on it. So I'm going to go ahead and insert that guy into here. Let me go ahead and locate this guy. I'll use a with me to kind of center it up on this plate. There. I want to make this face flush with that face, since it needs to fit in that cutout. And then I just need to locate it in the X. So I'm going to use that front plane, 375, and that face. Put that dimension around. There we go. All right, so now we're located. So now we want to tell it to bring in, we want it to be a smart component now and bring in those fasteners and the features. So if I click on the component right now, we can see in our view window that there's a new symbol there and it says Insert Smart Feature. So I'll go ahead and click on that guy. And we get the Smart Feature Insert Properties dialog box on the left. It shows us right here, first thing is what features it's going to bring in. We can even choose here to decide not to bring in features if we don't want to. Same thing applies with the components. We can, go ahead and uncheck these boxes and, not bring in certain components. And then we have our references. And, like I said, we need a reference for that cut extrude. So if I go ahead and click on this face, we get a preview. We can see we can have a green check. And there's even this little preview window that's showing us, where this came from. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit the green check. We can see in our Feature Manager design tree, we have a Smart Component folder showing the latch, the feature, and the flathead screws. If I go ahead and isolate this, you can see there's the cutout. And, if I open this guy up, you can also see that it added a Smart Component feature on here. So that means that this will show up on a drawing so that we can detail it then as well. Okay. So we've done our mate references, we've done our smart components. Now we're going to do a combination of both in one last example. So I have this D sub component right here that I want to include all these little fasteners here as well, and then this cutout, so the D sub cutout and the holes for the attach the fasteners, and then because this is automatically going to be sitting on a face, I also want to create a mate reference specifically for this D sub connector. So let's do that first. So I'm going to open this guy up, and to add mate reference, remember we're clicking on the Feature tab of our Command Manager, Reference Geometry, Mate Reference. And for the primary, I'm just going to use that face, set it to coincident, and hit OK. All right, we can see once again it adds the mate references feature in our Feature Manager design tree. We can see right there, that's the ones that we want. I can go ahead and save and jump back. And now I can make this a smart component. So I'll go to Tools, Make Smart Component. I'm going to select our D sub connector as the smart component. I'm going to select these fasteners as the components. And then for the features, remember it's automatically hiding it for us. In this case, the D sub cutout and the holes are the same feature, but they could be multiple features, and that's not a big deal. So I'll go ahead and hit OK. And there we go. We can see, it made the component smart, and there's the smart feature folder in the feature tree as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and insert this guy into an assembly. So I have this, nope, not that one. There it is, the computer assembly. And I want to insert, that D sub connector on this face. So I'm just going to go ahead and hide this motherboard. And let's go ahead and insert that guy in here. So we can see right away that it's automatically clinging to all these faces, which is exactly what we wanted. We want it to cling to a face. So I'm going to go ahead and drop it on that face. It's going to ask us, to confirm the coincident. We'll hit the green check, OK. And now we can see the symbol automatically came up for Insert Smart Feature. I'll go ahead and hit that. It's going to ask me here to save because I didn't save the smart feature, so I'll hit OK. And just like before, there's the cutout that's going to bring in There's all the fasteners and all the other extra components, and now it's looking for a face for the the basis of the D cutout and these screws. So I just got to select this face back here. We get a little preview. I hit OK, and you can see everything's inserted. If I go ahead and isolate this guy, you can see it added that cutout in there for us. So just real nice, simple, and easy, way to add those extra components and even the references to make them up as well. So, I just want to thank you all for coming to our webinar. If you have any comments, questions, and/or suggestions for future SOLIDNotes webinars, please email me directly at jshuey@design-point.com. If you need immediate assistance, there is our support at design-point.com email address as well. You can call our tech lines. All right, thanks for coming.